Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Thursday, the 2nd of May, 2024. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, the S&P ASX 200 closed up 0.2% today to 7,587 points after a decent lead-in from Wall Street. The market jumped sharply on opening and then pretty much spent the day falling back, particularly in the last few moments. The banks were the standouts thanks to the National Australia Bank result. More on that shortly. Macquarie Group was up more than 1% ahead of its results tomorrow. Coles was lower while Woolies tumbled after outlining disappointing third quarter results. WiseTech Global rebounded from yesterday's fall while Telstra and Woodside both fell more than 1%. Story number 2, National Australia Bank has announced a 13% drop in cash profit to $3.6 billion for the 6 months to the end of March, but it kept its dividend steady and announced a share buyback of $1.5 billion. While its mortgage lending book underperformed, its business banking operations outperformed. NAB's share price closed 1.5% higher, taking the other major banks with it. Both Commonwealth and Westpac ended about 1% higher, while ANZ was up 0.5%. In other corporate news, Nemoi Cotton has been the subject of a bidding war, and its share price jumped 13% today to 72 cents a share after Singapore-listed Olam Group said it's willing to pay 70 cents a share so long as it gets 90% of the company. Now, French agribusiness giant Louis Dreyfus is the other bidder. It offered about 60 cents a share on Monday. Nemoi Cotton's share price is up 50% since mid-March. Story number 3, cybercrime detectives are moving to urgently remove the website that allegedly published the personal information of patrons who signed in at Clubs New South Wales premises using their driver's licences. New South Wales Police's cybercrime squad said it was alerted to the website yesterday and was investigating how the data breach occurred and which, if any, criminal offences were connected to such a breach. Media is reporting that a group of software developers in the Philippines holds the personal data of many thousands of New South Wales club visitors. The website shows names of patrons, the club they attended, their birth year and suburb address, and censors some of the other details. Meanwhile, Horan Ted White appears to be the victim of a ransomware attack with a group called Black Suit, claiming on the dark web to have a list of documents of great value in its possession about the privately owned property valuation firm. Story number 4, Australia's trade surplus has come in at $5 billion for March, the lowest surplus since 2020. It's always good to be in a surplus, of course, and we do that because we sell so many commodities. Australia is generally in surplus, but a surge in imports, which hit a new record high of just under $40 billion for the month of March, is why the difference between exports and imports narrowed, according to the Bureau of Statistics. Meanwhile, the news in the construction sector isn't much better. Well, it's probably a little bit better. The total number of dwellings approved in March rose nearly 2% after a nearly 1% fall in January, according to the Bureau of Statistics. Approvals for private houses rose 3.8%. The average approval value for a house was nearly $469,000, up about 4% over the past year. And story number 5, US Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said what many investors wanted to hear this morning, and I quote, "It's unlikely that the next policy rate move will be a hike," end quote. It followed the Fed's board meeting where they left the benchmark rate unchanged and didn't really seem overly concerned about recent data points that show inflation still bubbling along in the world's largest economy. The comments helped equity markets and also gave the Aussie dollar a boost. In the short term, moves in interest rates matter to currencies, so if investors think rates in the US are going down, they're more likely to put money somewhere else, like Australia. That's it for the afternoon report for Thursday, the 2nd of May, 2024. Michael Thompson and I will be back tomorrow morning with the Friday edition of Fear and Greed Business News. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.